Hello, I'm Sylvia, the somatic medicine woman. I'm here because I have a mission to help fellow neurodivergent, hypermobile people who have gone through significant amount of complex trauma to claim a beautiful, delicious, joyful, pleasureful life. Yes, despite the fact you've been through so much. Today I want to tell you about my personal experience going through complex trauma recovery and what I learned in therapy, and what was therapy enough, or did it help me actually claim a very wholesome life for myself, how I actually uncovered my neurodivergence, and how this can happen to you as well. It's a step-by-step process. It's not a overnight, suddenly, like, yeah, it could be actually suddenly things click into place and you realize that, oops, I'm probably neurodivergent. So for me, it started with being already in a hypermobile body and already having the life story of dealing with complex trauma, relational traumas, and developmental, I always forget the word. Anyways, developmental traumas, and going through, thank God I had the funding to get therapy and getting the right therapy. So getting just any kind of therapy is not enough. I have heard horror stories of people going to therapy and getting more traumatized or more questioned about what happened, instead of finally having someone believing them, finally feeling seen. And then there's the other layers of actually unpacking on the physiology level, because some of us reach the point of so much chronic stress going on in the body that one big pile of shit hitting the fan actually causes neuroinflammation, and actual chronic pain can start happening in the body. So that was my case too. I developed a pain flare around my jaw joint. I thought it was a sinus infection that I just could not get rid of. I didn't put the dots together, or I didn't connect the dots. And trust me, no medical doctors did either. Nobody asked me about hypermobility. No doctor asked me about my trauma history. I had to connect the dots. By that time, I already did not teach yoga. And I had a very intense year of recovery, being in complex PTSD therapy, weekly therapy sessions. And I received IFS therapy. So I started to finally understand, my legs are getting tired. I finally started to understand how my early childhood experiences contributed to all of my other life experiences, and how I was wired, how I am wired, actually contributes to also added stress that I have to deal with on a daily basis, even though I'm like healed, because I can function in society and I'm not in a wheelchair, or I'm not wearing neck braces or any kind of like braces on my body. I used to wear a splint for my TMJ healing because I went through traditional treatment, but traditional treatment was not the thing that healed me. What actually healed me is understanding how to support myself, how to become the parent figure I never had growing up, how to learn to regulate my body instead of trying to desperately begging my environment to help me regulate. So for me, real healing recovery was coming from, sorry guys, I don't have a good like camera holder. I have to hold it with my hand, and my hand is getting tired. So I had to learn to step into who I am and become this badass warrior woman. And I thought that she was like almost like a spirit animal. Actually, I realized through therapy and EMDR and all that actually that's who I am. I'm a badass warrior woman. I just never learned to identify with her. I was taught to be weak and dependent on others. Unmasking myself. One of my biggest intentions with therapy was to make it make sense of what were the things that happened in my life. Why was I attracted to the man I was attracted to? Why was I abandoning my own self? Why did I have a hard time expressing my own needs? And gosh, the sun is coming in. Yeah, obviously this is not like a professional footage or anything. That's okay. We are not perfectionists anymore. Yeah, and so it was very, very painful year. I was also recovering from TMJ disorder, and for the first time, I lived on my own. I actually, it was so interesting because I was just watching and connecting the dots. Actually, I learned to tune in with my body and learn to connect the dots. Not because somebody said so, but because that's what made sense in my body, and that I really wanted to be free. I wanted to feel my energy in my body because I was struggling feeling my energy in my body. I was chronically out of my own body, chronically dysregulated. I was like completely falling apart, and my hypermobile joints were a perfect reflection of that internal state. To this day, I'm not officially diagnosed with ADHD or autism. I did my own self-diagnosis, and that's what just made sense to me, because I was healing from complex PTSD. On the body level, I was resolving, like I allowed my body to go through the shakes. I was experimenting on my own. I didn't follow any programs besides having a therapist and experimenting on my own, how my body liked to be supported and what my body was trying to say. And then my job at that point was to do what my body is asking me to do, and actually learning to show up as a leader in my life, and really seeing how pained parts, younger parts, firefighters, managers were trying to run my life based on the dysfunction that I grew up in, and I learned later on in life too, which is self-abandonment and squishing my own energy and joy, which I refuse to do anymore. And I want to teach you to same thing. Do not fucking settle until you find that joy within. And yes, it's your birthright. So yeah, the more I was healing, I thought I was supposed to just feel better and just move on, start a new relationship, and that didn't really happen the way I thought it would. I started to have more capacity to sit with discomfort, and I was consciously not wanting to date until I knew what relationship is, healthy relationship with my own self. So my whole healing journey was about unmasking, and I wanted to really truly meet who I am authentically throughout that journey of the past, actually 7 years of healing now. 7 years. And I went pain-free. I healed TMJ disorder. I started to help others with that. But I always knew it wasn't just about the jaw. It was systematic. And I suddenly started to actually thrive on order instead of chaos. And of course, I was studying a lot, in social media, other neurodivergent people's experiences, what it means to have the neurodivergent experience, not in the book, but actually felt lived experience, which I'm a big fan of, a big believer that we need to listen to the people who have been through the journey and have come out with a massive amount of wisdom for others as well. So that is what I was relating with, and really starting to heal. Now what healing means to me, not just understanding who I am, it's not just understanding who you are, but actually healing means that you have the capacity to be present in life, to be able to sit in one place and multitask and also absorb and take in your environment without an unnecessary fire alarm going off of there's danger. And that's everything for a system that had been hijacked for decades, 4 decades, a system being hijacked. And maybe for you it's been even longer. If your system has been hijacked longer, it's never too late to create the healing balance. I really, really believe. I started to understand it was a body level wisdom, a body level knowing beyond the mental understanding that's who I am. I'm a neurodivergent. I had this sense that ADHD was masking autism in my case. And of course, everything else was chaos turned on 100-folds because of the complex PTSD as well. And yeah, I just recently started to create content, and I haven't really shared much yet in this unmasked state, and really, really striving for giving you actual tools, not just theory, but actual felt, embodied, somatic tools to shed that's no longer serving you, to claim joy, claim pleasure, claim your claim your presence in the world, girl or boy, whoever's listening. Yeah, so thanks for listening. Bye.